Genius for life. Coconut smoothies coming at you.
All right, welcome to episode 13 of 15 Minutes of Genius. Sometimes 17 minutes of genius, sometimes 12 minutes of genius, but we're not going to change the title of the show. It's going to be 15 Minutes of Genius. Before we roll into our guest, this guy's amazing. Not only is he just a passionate entrepreneur that loves what he does, he's a LinkedIn star, and also, big credit to him, it's 9 p.m. there. He's in New York. I'm in Manhattan Beach. It's 6 p.m. I'm enjoying my time. It's 9 p.m. He put his kids to bed and he's up late with us. So a big shout out to him for that. So, quick plug for Mark Nicholas for Manhattan Beach Studios. Mark N at manhattanbeachstudios.net. This entire setup, it's all him. I just show up and put on my hat and start talking. That's all I do. He takes care of everything else. There's a website right below, manhattanbeachstudios.net. Okay, so we're going to roll right into it here. Good friend of mine, Adam Brown, with Sircle Media. Here's an intro. Adam Brown is the founder and president of Sircle Media, a social media strategy firm based in New York City. He has worked in and around digital marketing since 1999 and has held various positions on both the client and vendor side. This has given him tremendous insight into how these relationships work best, which has allowed him to develop a keen understanding of what businesses really need. He takes this expertise and knowledge and applies it to his clients each day. All right, Adam, how you doing?
I'm good, man. Episode 13, I think it's good luck. And I think my goal is I want to get more YouTube views than Mark Samuel. That's my goal tonight.
Yes, I think that's the only reason that I started my videocast or podcast. That's the reason I have you on. We're both fighting to beat Mark Samuel at his own game, and I think we're going to do it.
It's tough, but we're going to try.
Yeah, I'm only like 83,000 followers behind his on LinkedIn.
Same.
One by one, we'll get there. So, all right. Cool. So let's just roll right into it. Digital media, you are a pro at this. We have worked with Sircle Media. I have other colleagues that work currently with Sircle Media. So you have some great clients. CPG, how did you get into it? And also, why CPG, right? You have this talent for digital media. Why did you pick CPG?
Yeah, so I've always been about sales and marketing my whole life. It's all I've ever been good at. It's all I've ever wanted to do. And, I like this. I like the better for you CPG and beverage verticals. They are crowded, a lot of storytelling involved, high growth, a lot of competition. As a general stereotype, I would say there's more good people doing good things for the planet. And that's the kind of people I like to be around. And I'm an effective salesperson, but I'm not a sell the ice to the Eskimos type of guy. So I got to believe in what I'm selling, and I can get really passionate about these types of products that I put in and on my body. And so I've honed in on this vertical. Prior to this, I actually did some apparel, some restaurants. Those are plentiful in New York City. And I just found a lot of the opposite, very tight margin businesses, very kind of weird owners generally. And I just found that those verticals to be things that I knew that I did not want to do. And CPG was a nice reprieve from that.
Yeah, I think there's definitely this, when people in this industry, they care about their bodies and their health oriented, they tend to be nice people, like good people and trustworthy people when they care about the planet and care about their own health and into self-improvement, right? So, and yeah, I really respect that. With Sircle Media, I just remember the work that you've done, right? And I see it on social media every single day from a list of clients you have. Talk to us more about, with all the entrepreneurs that are watching, what really works in social media, right? What captures a person's attention? But just as important as that, what actually helps convert to sales? What do you think, what are some tips on, without giving too much away because we want people to hire you, right? You're the expert. What do you recommend is some good tips and tricks just to get people to cut through all the noise pollution and see your page and also eventually buy your product?
Yeah, and I'm happy to give it away. I feel like Gary Vee here. Like I'll give it away. Most people just won't. They just won't do it, right?
Right, right.
So I'm not that worried about it. Great question, man. I got to tell you. And I recorded a podcast, or I recorded a LinkedIn Live today about the topic of RFPs are whack. And the spirit of that, and the answer to your question is, I feel like a lot of brands have no idea what they're doing, and they read a headline somewhere, and so they do an RFP or they hire a company like mine, and they're
What is
telling
RFP, by the way?
like
Sorry to interrupt.
a request for proposal,
Okay.
right? And it's an old school marketing thing. It would be like, hey, we're looking for a new agency of record or a new social media agency or whatever it is. We're going to send it out to a bunch of agencies. It's like this whole long thing of all this like song and dance that you have to do. And it's like they did the work first before asking the expert. So it's like, I'm doing RFPs right now. Some brands, and they're like, we want to do X, we want to do Y, we want to do Z. And the number one thing we want to focus on is we want 100,000 new followers next year.
Hmm.
That is not where you should focus. So let me start there. That is not a KPI, not something you should focus on. It could not be less relevant as a metric for your success. Other areas that I think satisfy the spirit of that and how you can do social media right today, email. I'm a big buyer of email, even though it's not a social network. It is a community builder and driver. Those do drive sales. Those are big performers, especially for early stage e-commerce brands that are dabbling in e-commerce. You have a lot of those right now because of the pandemic we're in. Harvest your email. Get one person in it, 10 people in it, 100 people in it, communicate with them. I'm a big fan of Facebook groups. They don't need to be scale. They don't need to be large. It's about the quality. And Facebook groups are what Facebook pages were six. Like Facebook rewards you for posting there. You reach people. I know Koya, I put them onto it years ago. They use it. I think they do it very well.
Hmm.
And I think they're an area where you can harvest community and do a lot of things that are going to be beneficial to your brand, not just sell, but get feedback, get information on what they like, what they don't like, maybe throw in some flavors in there and see how people react. It's a great sort of test case you can use, and it's free, and you don't have to go out and pay some other company for it. I'm a big fan of SMS. Again, not a social network, but using a platform like Attentive to do the same thing so you can have a communication vehicle with people that are inviting you into their phones where you can have a conversation. Going specifically to social media, paid social works, influencers work, elevated content works, and just having a plan, right? I think where brands go wrong time again is they don't really go from the goal, like what does success look like, and then reverse engineer. They get into the follower conversation, or they over sweat content, or they don't believe fundamentally in paid social. And rather than listening a little bit to what experts out there or other CPG founders might tell you,
Hmm.
they go about it wrong. And I think most brand owners, most founders are actually their worst enemy in that regard.
Yeah, and this is something that just personally experiencing founders, like there's a part of us, part of it where we're a little bit arrogant, right? And like I've been like that sometimes where we think we know it all and we think we know what's best for our brand. But the best founders and the best CEOs, they hire people around them that know more than us, right? That is the goal, right? Is we focus, like a CEO focus on what they're really good at. Like for me, I'm great at sales. I also raise money. And then I hire a team around me, like a cabinet, as they say, of people that are great in their respective areas. So if someone is approaching you where they think they already know it all and they're just barking on marching orders, that's not the right way to start a partnership. And I will say, like the one thing you said that's really important, it's not about followers, right? Followers may be one of many elements that make a social media page successful. Let's get into that while we're on that note. So if you had to really boil it down, what are the key metrics, KPIs with a social media page where you want to really dig in and find success there? What's the best place to focus on with, let's say, Instagram?
It depends on what you want to have happen. You got to reverse engineer goals. Your goal is not to have a successful Instagram page, right? That's a tactic to lever up to something else. So, what is the goal? What are strategies to help with that goal? And then, what are the tactics you're going to use? So, color blocking your Instagram, or using user generated content, or using over stylized color pop content. These are all tactics. You got to think more about the goal. And it's actually telling, Alex. What you said twice, your page. So the page is irrelevant. Most people don't even see your Instagram account, right? They maybe saw a photo, maybe they followed you, maybe they see your posts, but with organic reach being like zero, they don't see it unless you're paying. And so to me, it's what do you want to have happen? What are the kind of messages you want to get across? It's effectively putting paid social dollars behind the content, making sure it gets in front of the right eyeballs. And I sound like a broken record. I've said this 1,000 times this week. Not being so binary. So I was pitching a brand 2 days ago. I had their whole team on a Zoom call, and they just told me they got into 1,000+ Krogers. They're by far and away retail first, and their number one priority is retail velocity support. And I went in their ads library on the phone with them, and I go, you know that you just said that, but you are not running one ad to support a retailer. It's all e-commerce focused. And like the founder was like, what? And I'm like, don't worry, I understand, because that's where the data is. So most people think since there's data, we're going to run e-commerce, we're going to drive people in the funnel, we're going to convert them down funnel, and it's going to be ROAS based. The problem is with CPG and beverage brands, first of all, it's brand and sales. It's definitely a mix of the two. And then more importantly, most of the brands we deal with are either retail only, retail by far first, or definitely retail is at least like 50% of the mix. And when you're thinking about it that way, how could you not be supporting your retail if that's your main channel? It's just like leaving a golf bag. And almost every time I say it to a brand, they're like, yeah, you're right. I don't know what we're doing. So that's something I think really needs to be fixed. Then to actually answer, so you don't feel like I danced around it. Thinking about the eyeballs you want to target, thinking about when you're in retail, if you can get non-New York, non-LA, less expensive paid social, less expensive influencers. I love that play to circle the geo footprint around Kroger's or Publix or other markets where there's not as much demand for influencers. That's a smart play to get awareness around that. Get your buyers will be happy. The salespeople on your team will be very happy. And then you're raising the tide for awareness in a mission critical area. So I think it's key not to segment or silo your social media efforts. They really need to be all done together and stacked if you want to have the best performance.
Yeah, really, it's great advice and insight, because I think when I see certain social media pages, they're focusing in on key demographics or key geographies and kind of shunning the rest. And that is not really the right way to run your page, because you could have customers all over the country. And I do agree too with that meeting you're talking about, which is really to support the retailers and knowing that people that find you on Instagram will go to the store and get your product. It's a great marketing tool. So what is next, with Sircle Media, just going back and circling back to your company and your brand, have you been affected at all? I really have not asked this yet, which is surprising to any other shows, but has COVID affected you at all? I imagine because it's digital media, not as much, but how are things going with your clients? Like what are they going through? How are you helping to support them through such weird and uncertain times?
Yeah, and I just went through all your episodes, man. So I have 2 hours of genius in my brain, and I don't think you have asked that. So I appreciate you asking me
I
that.
saved it for you because I wanted to look better than Mark Samuel. That's exactly why.
Totally. I hope I deliver. Look, macro food and beverage better for you set has done well. Compared to a lot of other agencies, especially here in New York, I have I know guys that own social media agencies that did hospitality, travel. They went out of business by April. I know other agencies in the event marketing space gone. So I'm incredibly grateful of the vertical selection that I'm in. It's been fortuitous for me and for my employees. And so the company is doing well. We have flourished through this. We just signed a lease for a brand new office and moved in on March 2nd.
Nice.
And then we effectively shut down March 13th.
Oh.
So I'm on the hook for a 7-year rent for 4,000+ square feet. But I can't cry about it. And the business is still coming in and substantiating it. Specifically, a lot of people are now going heavily into DTC. So that evolution and that change and that pivot, most companies didn't have people armed for that. You notice in this business, I'm the salesman, like you. I am the number one salesperson. Something I'm never going to outsource and I'm never going to hire someone to do. I'm just always going to find a way to do that. And so when I'm selling people, I get a lot of bounce back emails from social media managers at brands. They're gone. I've had people apply for jobs at Sircle, like, hey, I used to work at so-and-so brand, or I work here. So there's definitely been a lot of like paring back on the client side. And I think they're seeing a lot more logic in what we offer, that outsourced solution, one salary, no payroll taxes and benefits. So we just had a lot of demand. Like I feel almost guilty saying it, given where the world is at, but you're asking me. And so I'm telling you, it's been a weird year, but a pretty positive year business-wise.
Yeah, I mean, I think your business model is heavily resilient to what's going on because no matter what, companies are still growing. CPG, especially functional, plant-based, organic, is still surging, and I think people are becoming more and more aware of their health more now than ever before, so they're flocking to brands and clients like the ones that you're working with. Okay, so we're out of time. I can't even believe it. That was like the fastest 15 minutes ever. I mean, when Mark Samuel was on, I think it was like, it felt like 1 hour and 15 minutes. Yours flew right by. So I think this is going to become it's going to be like a Matt Damon, Jimmy Kimmel rivalry we're going to start here, like on LinkedIn. Let's do this. Let's do this.
I'm in.
All right. So if anyone wants to reach you, email, personal, TikTok, whatever, you dancing on TikTok, how can someone reach you?
So we're at Sircle Media. That's Circle with an S, stands for social circle. So at Sircle Media on all social platforms. I am personally most active on LinkedIn. Love to hear from anyone there. And our website, circle.me, and new website coming out in December, January, updated services, updated portfolio. So keep an eye out for it, and let me know what you think.
Awesome. And also a new video cast, right, on LinkedIn? Another
Yes.
one, right? What is the name of your show right now? You're doing something right now on LinkedIn, aren't you?
So I just started a podcast. I've only done like 5 or 6 episodes, I think maybe 7 episodes. I did Ali Kane on Tuesday at Haven's Kitchen. It's called Consumer Package.
That's it.
That's a video. Yeah, it's a video first podcast. It's going to be on YouTube. And that's where we're focused primarily. And then we're going to the audio subsets as well. But I really wanted to do in-person, you were on that as a guest on Zoom. I'm just trying to do in-person, and it's just been tough given everything what the world is. And yeah, I just got LinkedIn Live a couple of weeks ago. So I've been messing around with it, and like nobody pays attention. So if somebody wants to join and listen and throw some comments there, I'd appreciate that.
You just got to wait. I usually wait 10 minutes till someone finally comments. That's my strategy on LinkedIn Live. Just keep waiting, and someone will eventually just feel sorry for me and then type something in. That works for me.
That's what happens. Like 9 minutes in, I'll always get like one old friend who's like, this is great. And I'm like, thank you.
I'm going to rescue you. That's what they do for me.
Totally.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you again for joining us, man. I really appreciate it. Love that you're growing during these times. And man, thank you. And we'll see you on LinkedIn. Appreciate it, Adam.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you.
All right. Have a wonderful night. Episode 13 in the books. 13, that's a lucky number. And I'm going to stand by that with what Adam said. 15 minutes of genius. Big shout out and plug for Mark Nicholas, Mark at ManhattanBeatStudios.net, website right below. If you want to get a cool webcast like this, you want to become Joe Rogan, you can do it by contacting him. You'll turn into Joe Rogan, literally on a podcast, if you hire him. But that's not a claim. That's just me talking. All right, so thank you again. And one last thing, stay genius, my friends.
Genius for life. Coconut smoothies coming at you.